Hi, I'm Lisa Kelly. My daughter Tess died by suicide July 30th, 2018. She was 25 years old. She was funny. She was a lot of fun. She was artistic, and she was fun to be with. A little bit kind of a life of the party type girl. Her teenage years, she was rebellious, but so was I. So was a lot of people. And that's when we started to grow apart a little bit. And it was a little hard to be close to her because I didn't really know what was going on. She did go to counseling. A psychiatrist diagnosed her with attention deficit, and she was put on Adderall. And then after she graduated from high school, she went to college and moved away. So from like 18 years of age to 24, I didn't really know that much about her. I saw her when she came home to visit, or if I went to visit, but I didn't really know what was going on. But I was concerned because she seemed to be partying a lot, and I really wasn't sure what was happening. At 24, she reached out to me, and she needed a place to stay. So she moved in with us. And that's kind of when the light came upon us and our eyes opened, and we saw that she had substance abuse issues. She was addicted to Adderall. She was taking high doses and drinking. So we did an intervention, and she did go to rehabilitation. And then after, she came home to live with us, and we tried to help her get back on her feet. The year from then till when she died by suicide, I'm really grateful for that year because we had a lot of good days and we had a lot of bad days. But the good days where we spent time talking, we went hiking, we took day trips, shopping, things like that. The bad days were really bad. Really bad. She would fall off, start drinking again. She would take off for a day or two. I wouldn't know where she was. After rehab, she felt she could do it on her own. So she didn't want therapy. She didn't want to be in a program. And during one of those times that she took off for a day, that's when she took her life. What I remember about the first days was I was just in shock, disbelief. I thought my children would live longer than I, and I think that whole belief just falls away. You just can't, this can't happen to me, I think is the beginning. And I think not being able to talk to them or hold them or touch them, their physical presence is gone, is just devastating. It's unbearable pain. And I also needed to know that she was okay, and I didn't know. And even though I was spiritual and believed in life after death, I just wasn't sure. And one of the things we talked about in therapy is I read a lot of books, again, about life after death and things like that, and different mediums. And I talked to my therapist, and he said to me, would you consider seeing a medium? And that was one thing that helped me to heal, and also to get closure and to know that she was okay. She said she wasn't happy on earth, that she had depression or bipolar and addiction issues, and she's at peace now. The other thing that meant a lot to me was that she said that no one could have stopped her that night, because as a parent, you feel responsible. And the other thing she said, she's sorry that she let everyone down. I wasn't necessarily religious, but I was always very spiritual, wondering why we are here, what's our purpose, life after death, read many books, took many classes. I did Reiki and energy medicine, and was always kind of interested in what happened. And I kind of forgot some of that, but in time, through therapy, meeting with the medium, it kind of reinforced and strengthened what I believe. And I think that helps me through the hard times too. I think the hardest part is I wasn't educated on suicide, and I didn't understand it, and I was so confused. And at the same time, just the unbearable pain of her not being there and not understanding. It was crushing. Right after Tess died, the big emotions that I felt was guilt. I had a lot of guilt. I was her caretaker, her protector. She was born from me, she was my child. And I felt like as a parent, I should have been able to stop it. Although I learned through therapy that it wasn't realistic. And that I think one of the big lessons that I learned is that you can love and support someone, but you can't control what they do or don't do. And, I talked about with my therapist how I felt I failed as a parent. And he said, "Lisa, that's not that bad. That's normal." And I said, "Well, I told her to grow up." And he said, "That's not that bad." And I think through working through that with my therapist, in time, I was able to let go of feeling guilty and a failure as a parent. It's just like grief. At first, the waves are very large, and then over time, they're small. Like those thoughts may come up again, even today, 7 years later, but I have enough tools in place, and I'm able to give myself a pep talk and be able to let go of that really quickly. I usually start off when I'm having a bad day and just saying, "Tess is okay. She's at peace. I'm not responsible." I loved her and supported her, and I did the best I could at that time, I think is the big thing. And then usually what I do is I go do something, go for a walk, reach out to a friend, talk to my husband, just do something to try to move through that. I also follow back on what my therapist and I talked about. I think it's good to get the help and support that you need, whatever that is, in therapy, a support group, and knowing that you're not alone on your grief journey. I think the 3 things that I did that helped me, I think one is everyone has to understand that your grief journey is different. So what may work for me may not work for you. But one of the things I did was I journaled. And I took pictures and places that we visited or things that she liked, like this is her favorite tea. I stuck them in there, and I pretty much wrote to the end of the journal, which was like 2 years. I think honestly, the thing that really helped me the most was connecting with a therapist who understood suicide was key to me. And I think the third thing is just spirituality, believing in life after death, and also meeting with a medium. I think those 3 tools were what really helped me on my grief journey, especially at first. For unfinished business, would have, could have, that always runs through your mind. If I would have done something different that night, would it have been different? If I would have reached out more, even though she wasn't responding to my text. When I woke up that night, I felt like something was different, but I said, I'll just wait in the morning to talk to her because she'll usually reach out to me, and then I either go pick her up or she gets a ride home. But that never came. And so I often wonder if I did something differently, would she still be alive, you know? When I fall upon those feelings, I give myself a pep talk. Say there's nothing you could have done. Maybe she lived longer because, you know, I was here to help her, you know, we don't know. When Tess first died, I was a consultant. And so I was going to different places, and it's natural you have those kind of questions that I was totally not prepared for. So people innocently asked, how many children did you have? And I stumbled and fell all over that question. Sometimes I would say 2, sometimes I would just say 1 because I couldn't deal with it. But I think as time went on and I learned through others, is that if I just would have said, I have 2 children and I lost one of my children. If they asked another question, if I would have said, it's too painful to discuss right now. I think I learned that the hard way, and hopefully I can share that with others and help them. In the early years with other people, I probably didn't talk as much because I couldn't control the crying. Anytime I thought of her, I just would break down. But now, as time goes on, I share the happy moments that we had together, the funny times that we had together. She had a good sense of humor. She used to walk around the house and say, I am Google, ask me a question, you know. And so those are kind of the good times that we share. Not so much about, in the earlier times, you know, everyone around you's asking why, along with yourself. So the discussion becomes very emotionally intense. But as time goes on, that kind of falls away and you remember more of the good memories than the bad. When I went to therapy, he explained to me that someone with mental illness and substance abuse doesn't have coping skills to deal with life. And in a way, they never really grow up and they become kind of a chronic teenager. And by understanding that, that really helped me. I think when people have mental health issues, we want them to be normal and operate like us, but they can't. Like Tess leaving and running off or whatever. And to have something, I don't even know what it is because it's out of my, you know, my scope, just having somewhere where they can go that's a safe place, you know. It's kind of my dream. I think, you know, I think the loss of your child, no matter how they died, is something that just stays with you. And like I said, there are little waves that crop up and just learning to work through that, I think, you know, because you had that belief that your children will outlive you. And when that's shattered, you know, you really have to work at finding meaning and purpose in your life and moving on, you know, and accepting that she's okay. Honoring Tess, she liked to do artwork, so I'm working on taking pictures of all of her artwork, and I'd like to make a book, a book of them just to have. On her birthday and the day she died and other events, I'll have a dinner and have people over and we celebrate, we give her a toast. She would like that. I help as grief support facilitator trying to help other people. I donate. She loved animals, especially cats, and I actually have her cat. I inherited her cat. I'm surprised he's not around. So I donate to animal rescues and different places in honor of her. One of the books I was reading was about signs, how you know your loved one is trying to communicate with you. And she had a sparrow tattoo. So I see a lot of birds, cardinals, sparrows that show up. One day I was in the kitchen working And I was thinking about her, and a sparrow attached to the screen outside was staring at me. And I just felt like that was her. 6 or 7 months after she died, I was a wreck. I used to hike, and I was coming out of the woods crying, just like, I just can't believe this has happened, you know. And it was in February, and I look up above our house, and there's a huge rainbow. And I felt like she was once again saying, Mom, I'm okay, and you need to be okay too.